Welcome to the Dating After Divorce podcast. I'm your host, Shade Curry, and I believe every divorced woman deserves a romantic relationship where she feels safe, loved, and cherished. You can create the most amazing life after divorce, and I will teach you how. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Dating After Divorce podcast. I have a special guest, current client with me for this very special podcast guest interview. Her name is B. And welcome to the Dating After Divorce podcast. Please tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Again, thanks for inviting me or including me. I'm very honored because thank you. So I'm still learning how to take compliments, but my name is Bee. I'm 35 years old. I live in the Washington, D.C. area. I'm recently divorced I just had my divorce anniversary a couple of weeks ago. So it's been a year. I was married for about 7.5 going on 8 years. I work for your local, state, and or federal government. And I've been there for about 12 years now. That's pretty much it. I like long walks in the park. I love good ratchet reality TV. I've recently been getting into like murder mysteries on Netflix, on YouTube, but just still trying to figure my stuff out. But that's pretty much me as of today.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being on here. I know a lot of people that come on are a lot further along in their journey, but I have been a witness to your journey for the last 5 months.
Journey. Oh gosh. I don't even know if we really want to call that since I still technically have a month and a half left, but it's been a nice jog. So.
Yeah. And I just really wanted to call out the growth. I think one of the reasons I wanted to do that was because sometimes a lot of my guests are like remarried or they're like all the way on the other end of the journey. And I wanted to call and have you on because I wanted people to be able to see what it looks like in the middle when you're making progress and things are like getting better and more amazing, but you're like still straddling like, oh, I have to work on these things, but look at all of these results that I've created in my life. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit, but just for a little bit of background, you said you've been divorced for a little over a year. What happened with your first marriage?
My first marriage, aka my starter marriage. That's what a lot of my divorced friends who are now remarried call it. It was just, I think between working with you through coaching and through my therapist who I've been seeing for, I think as long as I've been married. And it's funny that my relationship with my therapist lasted longer than my marriage. But either way, by working with the two of you guys, I just kind of discovered that, with my ex and I, we just happened to meet at times like where we needed each other. We kind of served a purpose then, and then we just kind of grew apart. To go into specific detail, it was just a lot of trust issues, lots of infidelity, both relationship wise. Financial infidelity. I didn't know that was a thing until a few years ago. I had to look into it, and just, I don't know, I chalk it up to just being young. I was 26 years old when I got married. Didn't really know much about myself. I'm still learning about myself through coaching with you, and really just jumping into a marriage because I felt like it was the right thing to do at the time. I went for the typical tall, dark, and handsome, type, thinking he's going to swoop me away from all of my, woes and problems from home. And, just pretty much we both were kind of running away from stuff from home. And I don't know, I guess some other things that I probably can add, because it's easy to say like, oh yeah, he cheated on me, blah, blah, blah. Well, I can kind of reflect back and I can see like there are also things that I kind of contribute to the marriage as well that may have reinforced some bad behavior. Looking back, I think at times like I did too much where I was both I kind of talked to my friend about it, that I would bring home the bacon and I would have to cook it because there was always like an income difference in our relationship. And while I can, like I said, I can take some blame for myself, at the same time, I still have to put some onus on my ex because he was okay with it and I was okay with giving it to him. And it's just that dynamic just shifted into just a whole bunch of mess. So I've been dealing with infidelity for a while. I mean, that was probably within the first 2 years of my marriage. And I tried my best to, fix it and address it, but, you can't fix a marriage by yourself. And just in 2020, I was like, yeah, I can't do it anymore. Like, I can't continue to get hurt. I can't continue to sit in something where my needs aren't getting met, but I'm doing all this for another person. So, hope that answers your question. So.
Yeah, no, 100%. Did you feel, I mean, looking back at your very young self who, got into the marriage, did you feel like, and I know your family of origin also had like some dysfunction in there, like you said, you were running away from your issues at home. Did you feel like that young self of yours was doing everything you were doing in the marriage to like not buy love in that sense, but like to earn being
Absolutely.
loved, to earn being in a relationship?
Yep, absolutely. I will honestly say that our relationship was very transactional. For his sake, I was the one that was paying for most of the transactions. Yeah, actually, like my cousin, I mean, her and I were very close, and she's helped me through this, just through listening and talking and cracking jokes. And one joke she's always said to me was, she'd kind of impersonate my ex and say, "Oh, well, you know what? Nothing but the best. My wife will only, going to provide nothing but the best for me." But overall, yeah, I would say the relationship is very transactional, and I felt like I just had to, I don't know, in order to keep his attention, to keep him interested, and I think a lot of it to do with my self-esteem issues. If I could just buy him whatever it is that he needed, or support him financially in whatever business venture he wanted to do at the time, maybe that will make him stay. And then eventually, once he's taken care of, maybe I'll get my needs met. So that's what I was kind of hoping for. But yeah, I kept paying and paying and paying, but I wasn't getting any return on my investment in a sense. So
yeah. And so after the divorce, did you have what was the recovery work that you had to do? And I know you were already doing the work even within the marriage, you were in therapy. What were the losses that you felt like, okay, after this, I need to recover these things or these parts of myself?
I mean, honestly, it was, starting to work with you. I mean, like you mentioned, I've been in therapy for quite a while now. But I think what I really have liked working with you about, you do advertise, you will help divorced women find their next or future spouses. You also have a big component of your program of like working and trying to identify, yourself. And that's something that I've struggled with for quite a bit in my life, this whole identity crisis sort of thing of, being a recovering people pleaser. So I would say really just, I don't even want to say rediscovering myself, but just discovering myself, really figuring out like, who I am. What do I like? Like, just try to focus on myself versus like a partner or, or even a friend. But just taking all the energy that I pour into people and just start pouring it into myself.
Yeah. And I will say you've done an amazing job, as hard as it's been. And I think sometimes we forget where people are, like everyone is starting from a different, like starting block or starting point in their journey. And that's just one thing I do want to say to everyone listening is the reason for all the stories that come on the podcast is I always want to highlight that there are no rules. There's no formula for divorce recovery or for dating after divorce. You have to figure out where you are in order to figure out what you need to do to get to where you want to go. People are always asking, well, so how long after my divorce should I date? Or how long after this should I do this? And I'm like,
there's like a math equation I've seen online. It's like for every year you need to multiply by 6 and divide by the second exponent and blah, blah, blah. And like, there is no right,
No. Yeah. For me, one of the things I had to recover from was financial. I had to recover financially early after my divorce. That was like my first to do, because that was where I had sustained like a lot of losses.
Same.
So I had to do a lot of that before I started, dating actively. For some other people, it's like they've already grieved their relationship. The thing was already dead for like 10 years. They'd already like recovered and done all kinds of work. And then they start dating right after. Like,
but you can't be dating and broke. So yeah, you gotta make sure your finances are straight as well. So
Yep. I talked to someone at one point who was like, I was like, hey, dating apps. And then she was like, well, I can't afford a dating
Exactly.
app. I was like, oh no,
So
that's
what
a
I was
no.
doing for one of them, because I'm on, well, whatever, we'll get that. Like I was on Bumble for a bit, and I tried Hinge. And I am a very like analytical person when it comes to finances. And if you pay for these apps per month versus like say 3 months or 6 months, it's more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So after being on Bumble for like 6 or 7 months, like, okay, I paid $30 a month. 30 times eight is $240. I still haven't found anyone. Or I can spend just $240 one time and pay for a lifetime membership.
Oh,
So, so for people that are listening out there, that is an option for Bumble. You can have a lifetime membership and you can see all the people literally in the whole wide world. And I think it gives you like 5 super swipes, one spotlight per week, and then you can also see people that have liked you. So just in my opinion, it was a better bang for your buck. So yes, but
yeah.
I agree with you. You know, it's expensive. I mean, between dating apps, and I'm looking from both the guy and the girl perspective, but between dating apps and actually paying for dates
Mm-hmm.
and inflation, you gotta pick one.
But it's
Yeah.
so worth it though. Like, listen, when
Is
you get
it?
your
I
boo,
mean, we can't get mad at like at Netflix and Chills Day when gas is like as high as a giraffe's ass right now. So just we got to pick one. So I agree with you. It is costly. But you
yeah,
got to make sure that your money is together as well. But anyway, I digress.
yeah. Let's talk about your dating journey, which I know that's what everyone wants
Mm.
to hear about because, like we said, this is the Dating After Divorce podcast. So before we started working together, I know you don't want to go there, but
That's
it's going to be
fine.
very helpful for everyone.
It's
What did
cool.
your dating journey look like before we started working together?
Ghetto as hell. Just awful. Piss poor. I was accepting whatever, whoever, doing whoever. Like just and I think part of it had to do with like once I mean I can speak for myself, but just coming out of a 8 year marriage, especially where you weren't getting like say like your physical and emotional needs or whatever met. I just needed some validation. So, I mean, literally anyone who swiped on me, if they looked like a club foot in the face, like I would still go out with them. Or
Mm-hmm.
even me just, yeah, I was accepting a lot of stuff that I
Yeah.
shouldn't have. And just people that I can honestly say now that were like way, way beneath me. And unfortunately, since my self-esteem was just as low as that, I was willing to accept anything. So, but yeah, it was bad. Some of it was comical. I've gotten my heart broken like once and a half so far. I've had my share of sexcapades. I mean, we're talking like Zane novel stuff. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm not kidding. No, but like I really feel like I am done. I think I've caught up to me getting married at 26 to where I'm at now. So within that year
Mm-hmm.
and a half, I think I got my my single time done.
You
And
got your single time in, like you caught up with where you were meant to be.
yeah. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm good. It's just, I'm good. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And one of the questions you had for me early was, should I even be dating?
right.
How did you answer that for yourself?
I don't remember. I don't want to be lonely. Should I be dating? Yeah. I mean, I don't remember. I don't remember how I
Yeah. So,
answered that
I mean,
question.
my opinion, and it's always the opinion that I give everyone, is that um, it doesn't matter how much, like, it doesn't matter how much healing you do.
Hmm.
Like, of course, you want to heal before you date, but that's not always necessary. So it depends on the person. Like a lot of my answer is always, it depends on you
Yeah.
as the individual. I believe that there are some things that you will learn or that you will need to heal while you're dating. Because if you sit in your house
That's true.
healing, how do you know when you're ready? Now, for
Yeah.
some people, they're like, oh, well, I'm healing these particular parts of me. So, I don't want to do that while I'm dating. And
But
that's
you
fair.
learn so much stuff about yourself,
You
like
do.
when you are actively dating. Because and I get it. It's frustrating. Like you'll start people will disappoint you, whatever. But like I'll give like a really really good example because I said I'm a recovering people pleaser. One guy I was dating actually earlier this year, nice guy. We just did not work out or whatever. He just wasn't it. He was emotionally available, but very emotionally intelligent. It's strange. But either way, I remember we went out, we came back to my place, hanging out, doing adult stuff, whatever. And I think he wanted like a glass of water or something. So I got it. And I don't know if I heard this in my head. Maybe this is my past life. It's like, oh, you must do this. But I thought I heard him saying like, hey, I'm hungry. So I went to my refrigerator and I put together this chef salad. And for folks that know me or know whatever, I used to be like a fake vegan like years ago. So like now I'm more of like a flexitarian, that's what I call it. But either way, I made this like chef salad, like fresh greens, fresh, produce, whatever, like these vegan chicken nuggets. Like, it was very nice. Plated it. I even put the plate on a charger. I brought it over to this man as he sat on my couch, and he looked at me like, why did you do that? And I was like, but you said you were hungry, right? And I was like, oh shit, I just did it again. Like, this is stuff that I used to do with my ex. And like, because someone took me out for a nice date or like said, did something, like I owed them. And
Yes.
I just like stuff like that will come up. And it's just, you have like this aha moment, like, wait a minute. Like, this didn't work before, so how about you try something different? And especially for like an outsider, someone that you don't really know that well because you're dating, for them to call you out on it, it just hits different. So,
Yeah.
and you told me that before. Like I've said quite a few times, I want to put this stuff on pause. I'm getting frustrated. I don't think that I'm ready, but honestly, where I'm at today, I would attribute a lot of it to, not just working with you, but also through practicing through dating.
Yeah, you were willing to keep going out there. You knew you were going to make some mistakes. You were well aware that, like, and I know we had conversations where you're like, I did it again.
Yeah.
Or even in the middle of a mistake, you'd be like, yep, I'm seeing the mistake.
Yeah. And then I'll call you or text you right away and like, hey, can we talk about this dumbass thing that I just did again?
Right.
So,
yeah. Well, here's the thing. And that's one of the things that I think really everyone listening could learn from is that you were not afraid of making mistakes. And I know a lot of divorced women, just because we've been burned, are afraid of failing again. We're afraid of failure. And literally, failure is part of the process. Like, if you listen to every recording, that every guest that I've had, they've all had failures or, things that they were doing that weren't serving their journey, but they kept going and they made the adjustments as they went along. And I think that's one of the advantages of healing while you're dating, right? And this is where I feel like if you have a therapist, if you have a coach, if you have like, it's sort of like the bumpers in the bowling alley that can help keep you moving forward in your healing while you're dating, I think that's the best like combination that a person can have. Again,
even though I laugh at people with bumpers at the bowling alley, but still very helpful.
Yeah. And I think that's the best. Again, this is a very individual situation. You have to look at your own context, but I did want to call that out about your journey, and you've done really, really well with that. What's been the, I guess we were talking about, so the guys you were dating early on, how has that shifted over the last 5 months? Like, what's changed and what did you do to change it?
I don't know. Let's start. Some of these men have jobs. Some of these men offer to buy me food versus me bringing my own. I literally brought my own lunch one time to a guy's house. And it's really sad to say that, but like, it's like the basic stuff. Like I started getting, which again, when I first started dating, I was willing to accept anything. So absent all that, having a job, having money, having a car, being able to
wait, having a Tesla. I'm just gonna say that because not just having a car, but having a Tesla. That's kind of fun.
Yeah, or a spaceship, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, just like now I've just been able to date folks that literally like have their stuff together, which is nice. This is something that I always kind of, I don't know, in my marriage, I really tried to kind of downplay like a lot of my accomplishments because my ex, like, he didn't go to college. And even toward the end of our marriage, before we got to the point that we're at now, which is we're not talking to one another, which is probably for the best. He admitted to me that he was jealous of me. And I think it was more so like my accomplishments, like in terms of like my income, just buying homes, just doing a lot of things. And now I've been able to date successfully with people, I don't know, that are on the same level as me. And I don't have to have this like competing sort of dynamic between someone. Because for one, like, that's not healthy. So
Right. Yeah.
So
And,
yeah,
and I think this applies to a lot of accomplished women out there where I think we're socialized. It's all the nurturing women take care of other people nonsense. And so then
hmm
I've seen a lot of women who are highly accomplished, like yourself, dating men who are, and like you said, using the word not on the same level can feel weird to say that. And the way I like to say it is, whatever you're bringing to the table, it's 100% okay to ask for that in return. So if you own your own home and you have a job and have your own vehicle, if you bought cars for your for your
yeah,
ex-husband, like
yeah.
all
Like
of
I don't
this.
need your credit score on DNR. Like do not resuscitate. Like no,
Right. But this is
just
what you're bringing. But it's not because, and I think sometimes this gets framed in the media or on the internet as like women are asking for too much and women are this. But no, no, no. You're just asking for someone who mirrors who you are. That's
yeah.
it. You're not asking him to bring that to the table to take care of you. You're asking for an equal, uh, like compatibility from the other person.
But
And
I
I think
wonder why
that's
there's so much guilt behind that, though. I mean, that's probably like a whole nother
It's a whole
conversation.
deal. It's the way women are socialized. We have been socialized for thousands, maybe millions of years to think that way. And there's like a whole thing behind that, right?
Okay.
And I don't even know that we can unwind all of our socialization in our lifetime. So with my clients, I try to bridge the gap like, hey, listen, you're acting from this. We don't have time to like go deep down into all of your childhood and all of the history of humankind. But how
hmm
about in the present, we change the behaviors that are not serving you?
hmm
Yeah. So what did you do to change the quality of men that you were dating? Because now you have dated several men and gone on multiple dates and are sort of in that like loosely connected stage with someone.
And I ate on said dates as well. Have to mention that. I got food
You got food.
and an
So
activity.
yeah, what did you change? Or what was the first thing you did? Like going back
Um,
to you had all of these guys who were quote unquote low quality. What did you change? What was the hardest thing you had to do to change that situation? Do you wonder exactly how divorced women just like you are meeting eligible men who want a real relationship and a commitment? They're doing it by dating with their core values. Your core values are the GPS that lead you to the partner you've been looking for. When you use your core values on dating apps, text messages, and at social events, you will easily connect with your true match partner without chasing, settling, or wasting time with non-committal men. I have taught exactly how to do this in the 2-hour Core Values Dating Blueprint course available on my website, shadecurry.com/dating. That's SADECURRY.com/dating. You will learn exactly how to identify your core values and use them on your dating profile, how to ask the right questions via text, and how to tell the right stories on dates so that you attract the right people and repel those who aren't right for you. If you're ready to meet your true match, hop over to shadecurry.com/dating or click the link in the show notes. Now back to the episode.
I mean, not to be all cliche or whatever, but I really had to learn myself. Womp, 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 womp. So I will say that what is it? What is the worksheet that we did? The ideal self or
Oh, the irresistible you. You had your ideal partner worksheet.
that
We did
one.
that. Irresistible
So
you. Yes.
yes, so I would say the irresistible you project or whatever we
Mm-hmm.
want to call it. That thing, um, that was probably the most helpful. And I
Mm.
remember just trying to like just even starting it, like I was just at a complete blank because like I said earlier, I didn't really know who I was. And sometimes it takes like I had to before I even really started myself, like I would go back to some of my friends and ask, like, hey, how would you describe me? Because like for whatever reason, again, I'll just speak for myself. I can't really see this amazing person that everyone else sees. People think that I'm nice and they think that I'm hilarious or whatever. I don't know. Like, I'm just trying to survive. But, maybe me trying to survive is funny for whatever reason. But either way, I would say that workshop or worksheet or whatever, that was the most helpful. Getting to know who I am, what I like, what my goals are, who are some of my inspirations, just things like that, just getting a better sense of self. And once we finished that, because I know we would kind of follow up on it, every couple of weeks or so, and I would get annoyed. I'm like, Sade, I don't have anything else. I'm tapped out. Like, leave me alone. You want me to write down 50 things I want to do before I die? Like, I don't even know what I'm wearing tomorrow. So, but either way, I would say doing that was probably the most helpful. And I remember when you were able to update my dating profile, it was so easy because you literally just took stuff that was about me that, I've learned about myself through all these months and just plopped it into my dating profile. And I remember when we both finished, I was like, oh man, that's me.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And I would say like just the selection, like the folks that started swiping or whatever, like it just changed immensely. Like it was just like,
Yeah.
and I feel like the men that I did like, entertain or like were dating or went on dates with or whatever, like they had a good sense of like who I am. Like and they would say things like, your profile really stuck out to me because of X, Y, and Z. Yeah, I'm kind of cute or whatever, but it was really just the stuff that was in there that really kind of captured my essence. So yeah, I would say getting to know myself, which I am still figuring out as I go, but that was probably the most helpful thing. Because
Yeah.
I'm really starting to see myself for the first time, in 35 years. And,
Yeah. It's
it's not that
amazing.
bad.
Yeah. You're
I
pretty
thought I was a hot
amazing.
mess. Look at that.
Now there was some of the men that you had dated before, some of them had like stayed friends. I'm holding up air quotes. And
Mm-hmm.
this was typical of a lot of women that I work with is if the man wants to stay in touch, we don't want to say no.
Yep.
So can you talk about that a little bit? What was that like for you to like cut off communication with some of these guys?
Uh, so it was difficult in the beginning. And again, I think I'll speak for myself, coming out of a marriage and like just trying to figure out, like, am I attractive? Am I interesting? Am I sexy? Like any sort of attention that I would get from a guy, like I was holding on to it. And I had so many duds, like a lot of duds, like a lot. And like I would know from the very beginning and just interacting with them, like, nope, this would never work out because X, Y, and Z. But I was just so thirsty and desperate for attention. I just wanted to hold on to it. But in
Yeah.
working with you in terms of decluttering, I think that's what you had called it, kind of getting all of those, excuse my language, so I know my cousin's going to listen to this, but getting rid of all those like practice dicks and getting them out the way. Like I was able to like focus on important dicks with, with Teslas, brains in the house and, great personality. I'm just kidding. I'm not kidding. But getting rid of like all that clutter, I was able to really just kind of focus on myself and focus on, what I really was looking for in an ideal partner. I mean, it was difficult in the end, but looking back at it now, like I couldn't imagine having all those dicks swinging around and still trying to like date like people who I actually like. That's too much. That's a lot of dick in my face. I
Yeah.
just didn't want to deal with it anymore. But you told me to do it, and I'm glad we did. But it was difficult. So
Yeah,
it
and
was
that's
good to
what
say.
makes dating exhausting is having to use all of the energy that goes into putting up with the people that are actually not good for you. Those
Mm-hmm.
people take a lot of energy. They're boring, they're emotionally unavailable, they're
Some of them are
jerks.
some of them are related to you, but that's a whole other story.
That was interesting. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Mm.
Right. That takes a lot of energy and that's where the overthinking comes from. Because I think from what you've said, and I don't know if you were the one that used the word effortless. I love to use the word effortless with when I was dating my husband. But like when you are dating a good guy, it feels more
Oh,
effortless
yeah.
than all the effort going into like capturing these other person's attention, dealing with
Yeah.
the trust issues that comes up with them, they're hiding, they're ghosting, they're all of that stuff. That's what's exhausting.
They've got other girls' panties and their laundry, and like, oh, what's that? Oh, it's your sister's. Okay, okay, I'm done. Um,
Right. Yeah.
mm, 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 mm.
Awesome. Well, I think definitely that all of that is very typical of the dating experience. And do you want to talk a little bit about where you are now? Like, kind of, I know in the last 2 months, you've dated two really good guys, like guys who were like, oh, this could be the one. One turned out not to be, which that was hard. But almost shortly after, you are dating another person who is like even better, which is the progression I love to see in my clients. This is typically what happens when people are doing the work, is that the guys just get better and better. They just get better and better each time. So can you talk a little bit about kind of like where you are, what you're experiencing, and what's kind of like what's next?
Well, right now I'm at his house, I'm in his basement, so I can do this interview. He's upstairs working in his good,
His job.
stable government job that he has. I'm in his house, not his mama house, not not a homeless shelter. Like, no, his home. But no, I will. It's funny when people say like, "Oh, well, once you stop looking, you'll find somebody." I mean, technically, like when you're on dating sites, you kind of are looking, but I think in this case, I was, but I wasn't. So I was on Hinge. I decided to give him $30 a month or whatever. I did it for 3 months, and I don't know for folks that are not familiar with Hinge, but they have a tendency to like match you with people based off of your swipe history. That this person, you'd be really compatible with. So I saw this guy's profile, and I was like, oh, just based off of some of the stuff that he wrote, it was very me. It was very quirky, like just sort of oddball energy, smart, professional, like whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, let me go ahead and shoot my shot. What can I lose? So I swiped. We just started, texting or whatever through the app for a couple of days, and then eventually we exchanged numbers. We talked for maybe about a month. Just on the phone and through video chats and stuff. And then we went out for the first time like 2.5, 3 weeks ago. And we've been kind of inseparable since. And it's really strange because like I'll go back to the Irresistible You worksheet and then the ideal partner check sheet that you and I had done together. And that's how you wanted to design, is basically have a very specific and exactly what you're looking for in a person. And I'm not over exaggerating. And if this gets you more clients, then so be it. But when I say that this person meets like 90% of the stuff that I'm looking for in a partner, like it's crazy. Like I'm talking down to like the physical features too. Like and like you were saying earlier, just when you really meet that person, hopefully think that person, everything is just so effortless and easy. When I first met him in person, it was just, I wasn't scared. I wasn't nervous. It was just like meeting an old friend. And I think us really spending that time talking and getting to know each other for a month really did help. But yeah, this is like the most comfortable I've ever been in terms of like dating and just getting to know someone. And then for this person to literally like, he literally likes me for me. Like we went out this past weekend and random, I got a chemical peel. Just I just like wasting money sometimes. But anyway, I got a chemical peel and I was looking like a ghoulie. And he still wanted to hang out with me, like even though my skin was, peeling off and in his beard by the end of the night. But whatever. Yeah, it's just been really, really nice. Like even last night we were on the phone and he mentioned that, yeah, I really want you to like meet some of my friends now. I think that'd be really important. I'm like, yep, totally agree. Because, you and I have talked about that before. Like you want to introduce to your friends and stuff very early on versus later on. Because, once you kind of get in and, start really getting heavy and, get digmatized and stuff, it's hard for you to unsee some of the, the red flags and pink flags or whatever, like what your friends may be telling you. So it's just, we've been on the same page just about everything. So he's 40, he's divorced, no kids. I'm Aries, he's a Leo, so 2 fire signs. Like we just get along really well. And we have the same like dry sense of humor. Just we have so many similarities. It's funny. And I said this to him yesterday and he said the same thing. Like this is the happiest I've been. Like, with a potential romantic partner, like in a very, very, very long time. Like just genuinely like really, really happy. And I have a good feeling about this one. Oh, and he
Yeah.
wants to get married too. So
Yeah. That's amazing. And of course,
and he has
you've
a
told me.
Tesla.
And he does. He owns a
Since
Tesla.
since
I'm
that's
like,
important.
listen. It's not important, but only in the fact that the people you dated, you know, prior were so far in the way they showed up to life than the
Yeah.
people you're dating now. That was the only reason I
Yeah.
mentioned the Tesla. I don't promise Teslas in my client results. He just happens to have one.
Just happens to happen.
One thing that I wanted to highlight was sort of that experience that one is having when you're about to give up. So like if you talk about the last time, like you had a really great guy and you all were dating and it seemed like it was going somewhere and it didn't work out. And that moment when that ended, right?
Mm-hmm.
And your ability to even see this possibility. And I know that almost none of us are able to see that. It's sort of like we have to bridge that gap with our imagination to be able to keep going.
Boy. Well, I mean, you already know about that situation. Like, I was like legit heartbroken. I probably cried for about a week. It took me probably about a good 2.5 weeks to kind of get over it. And like, this is someone who I guess technically dated or whatever for about 3 months. And I just felt really defeated at the time. I'm like, all this work and I'm finding these great guys and like this person just, I thought it was going to work out, but then it didn't. And then I started getting all this negative self-talk where I'm just thinking about all the crazy, stupid things that my ex used to say to me about, oh, I don't know, you're going to have to go find someone older. The marriage wasn't that bad for him. You need to go find a matchmaker. Basically, you're not going to find anybody better than me, says the narcissist. Yeah. And I just kind of I got stuck in that for a really long time. It was a lot. So I'm not sure if it was like the universe that kind of came together or something, or me telling you like, hey, we've been doing this for 4 months and I got 2 months left. So I need something to start happening so I can feel like I got my money's worth. But it was tough. But I got through it. It's just, I feel like a lot of the quote unquote mistakes that I made during this dating, I just felt like these were things like I should have made in my 20s, but I was an old married lady by then, and I just didn't know.
Yeah. And you're not wrong that these are, in a sense, mistakes that we should make earlier. Like it would be nice. That's sort of if I had to do it over.
Yeah.
I would go back and just date for a longer period and not get married so quickly and date, different kinds of people. And this is where, like, what I believe how I teach dating comes in, because I teach it as a process that we learn. I teach it as skills that we practice. There's the underlying self-love and trauma that we deal with and the divorce recovery. But I literally believe that it is a process. Like it can be learned. You can practice the skills. And I think staying in the pool of practicing the skills, staying in there is what brings the spouse at the end. Because you were like, well, maybe it was the universe, or you don't know exactly how he came. I know how he came. You were in the process.
Yeah. Because I stayed on the apps.
You stayed on the apps, even though you were heartbroken. You stayed.
Even though I did not look like my profile picture at all, because I was shot.
Yeah, because that whole month that you were nursing your broken heart, and when we talked about it, I was like, yeah, I get it. You can ease off a little bit, but you wanted to shut them down completely. And I was like, I don't think that serves your goal.
Yeah.
If your goal, because you have certain considerations, age, and the possibility of kids and things that you're thinking about, it did not serve you to nurse your broken heart out in the cave, shut off from the whole world, and not talking to anybody, because you had a certain goal. And that's literally why you met him, because that month where both of you were just talking and texting, even though you were feeling terrible.
And looking terrible, by the way.
You said you were looking terrible. I think you always look beautiful. But
okay, so that part we're going to have to agree to disagree on. So for the folks that are listening, I had a face for radio during that time. So anyway.
Continue. Yeah, but you stayed in the process. Literally. And I don't even know that you saw it that way, but I think that was what made the difference, is that you broke up with this one person.
And I had already paid for the membership. So what was I going to do?
Right. You had broken up with this person. Yes, you could have taken a whole month off to be in the corner crying, or you can be crying and swiping at the same time and stay in the process and put the odds in your favor.
And eating delicious snacks from Trader Joe's along the
You
way.
know,
Yep, that's
whatever you got to
exactly
do
how it
to nurse the
works.
broken heart,
Mm-hmm.
all of that, whatever
Cookie
you got to do
butter, wafers. Yep,
to
that's my
keep your goals
recommendation.
going. Yeah. So 100%, and it totally paid off. I've been so excited to like see how it's turned out for you to, and I think even that moment when you realize that this person was just so much better for you, so much more compatible, so much more emotionally available than the person you were thinking you were going to walk down the aisle with. Like this is been so gratifying to see that.
You know, I just told one of my girlfriends that actually a couple days ago, like I'm really starting to get to the point now. I don't know if it's maybe because like I met this person who I think we are probably gonna be going exclusive soon because we had a conversation about that last time, which is great. I can honestly say like I look back at my marriage and my ex, I'm looking like such and such who like I would never like I remember like the points where like oh God, you remember that time when I ran across him on Bumble and like I just wanted to shit my pants, like it was a lot, but now I look at him and I'm starting to just get like not happy, not sad, just like very indifferent, just like okay, all right, like and that's a good thing. I mean, I guess it's showing like growth and like you know the work and stuff that I've been done. But I know I spend like a large chunk of my time just worrying about like what's he doing, who's he doing it with, and all that silly stuff. Where it's like, well, even if he's doing someone or something else that's better than me, I guarantee you he's not doing any of the work that's needed. So the same mistakes that he made with me, he's gonna make it with the next one. So just focus on myself and just you know be happy that now you can see yourself and other people have well they already saw me but like it's just been nice that I can see who everyone else sees and I don't have to try with this person. It's so easy. Just don't do anything but just look silly.
Well, what you're saying is I don't have to do anything but be myself, but be exactly who I am.
Oh my gosh, it's just like it's a breath of fresh air. Oh man.
Yeah.
I don't have to pay for anything. Like I don't have to try. I don't have to put on like this mask. Like I can walk out with flakes on my face. Like it's just nice. Like I don't want to go back.
Amen. Right. We're not doing that. Nope. Well, B, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. I know this is going to help so many people because this is the stuff that we don't talk about. Right? Like nobody wants to come on and talk about how they had these weird people in their DMs. So I really appreciate you coming on and telling your story and sharing your success story with the audience. If you were to give a piece of advice to a woman who is, you know, divorced and wondering like, you know, should I do this dating thing? Or, you know, is like all the narratives that are out there, like, are there good men out there? It's terrible in the dating landscape. I don't want to date, or I'm a loser for needing help with dating, or just all of that talk that comes up. What would you tell someone, you know, who is like on the fence about the possibilities of dating in 2022, the possibilities of dating after divorce?
Well, for one, you're not a loser for wanting to get help. I mean, look at me. I got a coach. I got a therapist, I got friends, like I have a whole village of people. So that doesn't make you dumb or weak or whatever. I mean, you need that to get through this because you cannot get through divorce alone. You need that village. And then in terms of dating, I don't know, sis, like don't give up. They're out there, I guess. Just you really got to focus on yourself, learn yourself, and then they will come or something. But overall, like, there are good guys out there. I didn't think that there were. This one was like within my 60-mile radius because I wasn't going past that because gas is too high. But yeah, they're out there. It's just, I think it just takes really doing the work. It makes the process so much easier because I couldn't imagine trying to date in the middle of a peanut butter and jelly sandwich pandemic, me being a hot ass mess. there's no way I would have like matched with the person who I'm dating now.
Yeah.
So
It does. And I think that's the thing, is to not be afraid of the work that it's going to take.
yeah.
Like, what if it does take some work? What if it does take some work and some personal inner work and some new
And a lot
skills?
of ugly tears, and because
Yeah.
you like to record the sessions, and I just don't watch
You don't watch them?
them. No.
I'll keep
Mm-mm.
sending them to you.
Yeah, it's fine. You can keep trolling all you want to, but I'm not watching that stuff. Like, yep, it happened. We got it.
You know,
I'm good.
you've got the guy now. You don't need to be watching nothing.
No, I
It's
mean,
all good.
yeah.
Kind of,
So
sort of.
sort of, kind of, yeah. But I have a good feeling about this one, so I'm excited. So I'm just like you told me, just to focus on the today or whatever, and just not just enjoy each moment for what it is. And that's what I've been trying to do, is just enjoy every moment and like opportunity we get to spend time with each other. It's very nice. And he
Awesome.
liked me.
And he
Liked me a
does
lot.
like you. And he's kind of cute.
He's more than kind of cute. He's fine. And he has a Tesla. Okay, let me stop talking about this.
Okay.
I don't like this for just full. I don't care about the car. I'm just being extra. But no, he's
No, we've
very
just
nice.
turned this podcast recording into one of our client sessions. I think that's what's happening. We forget that
Well,
people are going to
that
listen to this.
well that and like you forgot that Elon Musk said he would cut you a check after today if you mentioned Tesla 5 times. So Tesla,
Wow.
Tesla,
Yes, there we go.
sprinkle, sprinkle.
I'm gonna
You're
tag
welcome.
him in this podcast episode.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, B, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it. I love sharing my my client stories because, you're in the middle of it. You're doing the work, and I know you wanted to share some of your writing that you had done about this process. Can you
Oh,
tell the listeners where they can find your story?
so it's on WordPress. It's not necessarily about this process, but just like process with you, but just what it's been like, just going through a divorce in the middle of a pandemic and trying to date. So I
Mm-hmm.
will say I started blogging in early 2021, like when things were just starting to pick up in terms of my marriage declining, and just really just writing and getting things out, just how I was feeling, stuff that I was going through, dates, good days, bad days. I mean, the latest entries they're just like super depressing, but the early ones are pretty funny. I mean, some of these dates are quite comical, but if you want to check out my journey, I will link this to Sade.
I'll put
I guess
it.
you can
Yeah,
put it in the thing.
I'll put the link to B's blog in the show notes. To protect her privacy, she writes under a pseudonym. So, but it really does detail kind of like the dark side, some of the dark sides, some of the more comical sides of a divorce. And
Some of the host sides, some of the whatever side. It's a lot of sides
yeah,
going on. But like I've told quite a few people, truthfully, if I wouldn't have had that blog, and I'm so thankful that one of my friends really encouraged me to do it, because I think I was telling her about one date, and she's like, "Girl, I can't believe half of the shit that you tell me. You need to write it down." I'm like, "All right." So I did. I wrote an entry. I sent it to her, and she said, "Keep going."
yeah,
And I did, and I had really enjoyed it. It's just been a really good, healthy outlet for me, and then especially since I kept a lot of stuff in my divorce to myself, well, my marriage to myself, through over the years. This was a good way for me to share or kind of like have a conversation with my friends without having a conversation with them.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
So, but yeah, I will pass the information
yep.
along.
We'll link it up in
Um,
the show notes so you can read B's story. B, thank you so much for being here today and for sharing so candidly. Really
no
appreciate
problem.
it. I'll see you in your session later this week.
Oh yeah, I can't wait. What are we
We're
gonna
not
talk
done
about?
yet.
Guess what? I'm not gonna watch the videos. So no, I'm kidding. See, now I'm
Oh,
gonna have to
good.
watch it.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for your time and attention today. Make sure you check out B's blog in the show notes. If you're interested in doing this work and getting these kinds of results,
Do it.
please reach out to me. You can email me. You can book a consultation call with the
And
link
you
in the show
too
notes.
can get a Tesla.
Yes, and maybe you too can get a guy with a Tesla. We're just kidding.
I'm done. We're kidding. You get a Tesla. You get a. Okay, I'm done. All right.
Awesome. All
Anyway,
right, bye everyone. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time.
hey, bye.
Thanks for listening today. If you are ready to get married after divorce, I want to invite you to download my free 8-video training specifically designed to help divorced women date with ease and get married again. Head over to sadecurry.com to get started. That's SADECURRY.com. I'll see you inside.